Shalom. My name is Yair Davidiy. I'm speaking to you from the land of Israel, and I represent an organization, Brit-Am, Hebrew nations, that finds the lost 10 tribes amongst Western nations. We find the lost 10 tribes amongst Western peoples, and we find an especially important section of them, that is that section associated with the tribes of Joseph, Ephraim and Manasseh amongst the English-speaking peoples. And English-speaking peoples began, or they started off in the British Isles. That is where a good portion of the people from North America came from, also from Australia and New Zealand, and that is where we could say the 10 tribes began to develop and began to carry out the task that divine providence had allocated to them. And that is also where we find the beginning of the proofs of Israelite ancestry from there. According to the Bible, we have numerous proofs of Israelite ancestry emanated and exemplified in the British Isles amongst the British peoples and those who developed from them. Now, we also have proofs. We have proofs not only from the Bible, not only from rabbinical sources, not only from numerous other fields, but also from history, from historical sources. And one of the historical sources that we use is the Geography of Ptolemy. Ptolemy lived in about 100 CE, 100 years in the Common Era. He was an inhabitant of Alexandria in Egypt. He may have been of Greek ancestry. We don't know. We don't know very much about him. He does not seem to have been Jewish, and neither does he seem to have been a Christian. He was what he was. He was a pagan living in that region, but he knew a lot. He knew a lot. And he gathered together all of the geographical information extant in his time. And that information, in many cases, is very valuable, and it stretched right the way back. He used old sources, the old Greek sources, old Phoenician sources. He used Marinus of Tyre, of the Phoenician city of Tyre. And he used what was available, and he has the most comprehensive records that we find. And he gives the geography of all the known places in the world in his era, and he also describes the British Isles and the peoples living in them. From the names that he gives, we can deduce that there were Israelite tribes in that region, and we take these indications and we cross them over. We bring them together with other information, and we show that this indeed does show that peoples of Israelite origin were in that region at the time when the Celts, or people of Celtic culture, were dominant in Britain. And so we find different names. For instance, we find in northern Scotland, the Lugi. The Lugi have similar names to those of the Ligi and other peoples who were then in the region south of the Scandinavia, and was now Poland, the so-called Vandal peoples, who later moved westward and in part invaded northern England and Scotland and settled there. And we trace them to the tribe of Asher, and one of the clans of Asher was known as the Heber meaning union, and so too the Ligi here that we find here have a name indicating a union. And we find here people otherwise unknown, but having a very similar name to similar Celtic groups far to the east, from which evolved the Vandals, even though the Vandals were, when history comes in contact with them, they were already associated with the Goths, and they spoke a Germanic type language. Apparently they had a Celtic antecedents. And we see that we have shown that when the Anglo-Saxons invaded Britain, they included a group so-called Vandals amongst them, and these Vandals went to the north of England and into and Scotland. We have proven that that was what they were. They belonged to the other peoples that was known as the Vandals, and they have this. And so we find in the place where they were about to go to, or very near it, people with the same name. And often we find this in history. We find that when one people moves to another people, very often a group of similar name had been there before them. as if there's a homing instinct of peoples of different culture, of apparent different origins, but having the same ancestry. Unbeknown to themselves, they tend to come in and home in and regather together, recoalesce in the same areas. And this is a phenomenon that repeats itself in history, and we have noticed this several times on several occasions, and we have made note of it in our works. So we have the Ligi in the north of Scotland, and they were associated with the Vandals, who came west much later with Anglo-Saxons and invaded what's now England, and also spread over into lowland Scotland and Scotland itself, one could say. After the Ligi and related peoples, we have the Caledoni in Scotland, and the Caledoni apparently related to a people also known as Galadon further to the south. The Caledoni are a portion of the tribe of Manasseh. They relate to Gilead. Gilead from Manasseh. Gilead was especially dominant in the region of Manasseh east of the Jordan, and they had territory stretching from the Jordan River eastward right up until the Euphrates River and beyond it. And this was the expanse of Manasseh, and incidentally Ptolemy's maps prove it, because Ptolemy brought together information extant in his time but not necessarily historically pertinent. He also put down proofs and facts that had been relevant centuries before he existed, and had since changed due to the changing of historical circumstances. At all events, we have the Caledoni. We have the Caledoni from Gilead of Manasseh. And after that we have the Damnoni. The Damnoni in Scotland, in northern Scotland, on the west coast of Scotland, and these are similar to the Damnoni also found in the southwest of Britain, where they're also known as Danonia, and these people are related to the tribe of Dan. And so this too is of significance. We have the tribe of Dan in the Damnoni in Scotland, and also in southwest Britain. And they are also related to the tribe of Dana in Ireland. After that we have the Briganti in England, in northern England, related to Beria of Ephraim. The Briganti were also present in Ireland and on the continent in eastern Gaul and the region of Switzerland. Then we come to Iberacum. Iberacum is the city of York. That was the name given to it. Iberacum, Ibor, the root Ibor, or Ibar is the root meaning Hebrew. It's another way of pronouncing the word Hebrew, and these people apply this word Hebrew to themselves. Iberi is what they call themselves. This is what they call themselves in Ireland, and what they call themselves in Britain in general. And throughout the Celtic so-called realm of Celtic civilization, this is a common place name, a common ethnic name, and this apparently was a name that they called themselves by. Iberi, they named themselves Hebrews. They did not call themselves Celts. Celt is a Roman, a more modern application, or doubtful validity, but it's what we use because it's academically acceptable. But the name that they appear to have used for themselves is Iberi, and Iberi is another way of saying the word Hebrew. They call themselves Hebrew. Also, the name Iberi or Iber, it is from the root Aver or Ober, moving over, moving around, and it's one of the explanations of the word Scotty, also has the same meaning. So it also means wanderer and moving around. And Scotty were the people who came from Ireland and gave their name to Scotland. And at all events, in the region of York in northern England, we have Iberacum. There too we have Danum, a city of Danum, named after Dan. Incidentally, we found in northern Scotland, in the Damnoni region, we found a river known as Don, the River Don. Also close to the city of Danum, we also, in the region of York, we find the Parisi, and also we find the River Don, a River Don. And we have two places named River Don, one in northern Scotland near the Damnoni, and also one in the region of the city of Danum. And incidentally, this was the area where later Vikings were to settle from Denmark. So here too we have this principle of peoples with similar names, of similar ancestry, coming in on the same areas even though there was a great number of years intervening between them. A different historical period intervened, and so we have Danum, and we have this connection with the people of Dan. Also, it reminds us of the Don River and the Danube River and the Dnieper River in southern Russia, where they're named after the tribe of Dan, as we have shown, even though there are those who claim that their names are derived from an Indo-European root meaning water. This is not so. It is an ethnic name, and it relates to the people, to the tribe of Dan, who in that region also later moved westward. And some who might say that this is a coincidence. It might be, it might not be, but in the northern Scotland, where we have this River Don, archaeologists have found spurs and equestrian accoutrements, the things associated with horses similar to those of the Scythians. And two Scottish legends said that their ancestors were from Scythia, and they related their name Scott to that of the Scythians. So too in the York region around Danum, we find the Parisi people. The Parisi people come from Parish or Paris, which was a section of the tribe of Manasseh, associated with Gilead. Further south we have the Simeni from the tribe of Simeon, Simeni. And the Simeni are known, this is in England, or now in central England, we're speaking about the Simeni, were also known in Roman records and in conventional records as the Iceni. The Iceni has a name to how the Phoenicians would have pronounced Yachini, the Yachini, which was a segment, a clan name in the tribe of Simeon. And so too in this region we have the Idumaeus River, in the area of the Simeni, the Idumaeus River. Idumea connects to Edom, and the land of otherwise known as Idumea. Idumea was adjoining Simeon and the land of Israel. They were bordered to each other. So perhaps elements from Edom also moved with the Simeoni into Britain at that time. And we have to the west of them, in what is now southwest Wales, we have the Sivers, whose name relates from Saul, also a segment of Simeon. And Irish legend said that people known as Simeon did settle in Britain. So this is additional evidence that the segments from the tribe of Simeon were in that region. And we also have the Alornus River. The Alornus River is similar in the south of England. Also we found a similar name in the north. It's related to Alon from the tribe of Zebulun. And then further west, in the southwest, we have the Tamara River, in the region known as Tamar, from the name Tamar. Tamar was the daughter-in-law of Judah. She's an important personage. She was the mother of Zerah and Peretz, the sons of Judah. Also, she was the daughter of King David. And so we have this name, repeated, Tamar. And then we also have the Issachar River from the name Isaac, in the same region. And here too we have the Damnoni, who is similar to the name Damnoni in Scotland. This is also in southwest England, what is in the coast of Cornwall, the region of Devon. Also that was known as Danonia, which confirms association of this name with the tribe of Dan. And in Ireland we also have other names. We have the names such as Oriel from the province we have the name of Oriel related to a province in what is now Ulster. Oriel was a Hebrew name. We have Abu Beth Macha of Naphtali, repeated the name Emen Macha of Northern Ireland. The Gabran, the Gaber, Alada in Ulster, and so on, and numerous names throughout the British Isles, connecting the peoples in that region to the tribes of Israel. This is also confirmed by mythology, by archaeology, and by the Bible. Thank you. May the Lord God of Israel bless you.